Welcome back to K24 Alpha Jury. It's now time to rise and shine. This is what we do every single morning from 6:30 to 7 in the morning. And just to give you a recap of what we have been doing right here on Rise and Shine from Monday. On Monday, we spoke about fathers and the importance of having a father figure in a child's life. Yesterday, we spoke about how to become a man and a woman of value. Today, we are going to be talking about setting the right mindset. How do you just do that? And joining me in this conversation is none other than Silas Kirinya. Karibu sana to K24 Alpha Jury. We're so happy to have you.
Thank you very much.
Yes, and we're happy that today you've decided to visit us in the morning. Right? Normally you're here during the day.
Sure.
Yeah, was it hard waking up?
It was not easy for me.
It never gets easy.
Yeah, because I had to wake up at 4 actually to prepare so that I can be around early enough. Yeah.
And we're honored that you actually just did that. Okay, so what does Silas do?
I'm a counseling psychologist.
Okay.
I am the CEO and the founder of Amazon Counseling Center. Okay, before psychology, I did philosophy, which basically focuses on the love of knowledge, that's what we say, but it has basically 4 areas: logic, how we think, epistemology, the love of wisdom itself, morality or ethics, which basically focuses on how we behave, and ultimately metaphysics, which focuses on things beyond nature. So that is what I did before I came to psychology. Now, my postgraduate degree focused basically on counseling psychology.
Okay.
Now, I do counseling as one-on-one on all various issues of psychology, but I also do corporate training. I train quite a number of organizations in Kenya and also in Sudan and Somalia as well.
Wow.
Yeah, but I also do a lot of talks like what we are doing. I write on different newspapers. I've written different articles. And journals around, and some of the journals actually have been published in Germany. Yeah, so basically that's the kind of work that I do.
Amazing.
So I try to inform the community and the society on various psychological issues and how they can improve their lives and become better people.
All right. And I guess that's why we're having this conversation today, talking about the power of mindset.
Sure.
What is mindset, if I was to ask you?
Now, mindset is a belief system. The belief systems that basically kind of are underlined in our way of thinking. And these belief systems are like lenses that we use to interpret the world around us, to interpret relationships, to interpret financial challenges, for example, to interpret education, to interpret performance, relationships, feedback, and all that. So that's what helps us to be able to view the world in our own subjective way.
Okay, and before we actually came on air, you were telling me a very interesting story about yourself and how your mindset affected you. So if you don't mind, please just share it with our viewers back at home.
Okay, and a very interesting childhood life. So as I was growing up, I grew up in a very local, remote kind of community.
Where is this?
In Meru.
Okay.
Yes, there is a part of Meru called Tigania. Now, Tigania, they really uphold traditions and all that, so they are very, very cultural people. And therefore, education was not emphasized in the community. Actually, where I come from, I think in the village, I probably was the first person to go to the university. Oh, wow. And also to acquire some, other higher education. And then from that, of course, I've been able to empower people. Now, growing up in that kind of community, there is no one to motivate you.
Absolutely.
There is no one that you can look up and say, I would want to be like so-and-so. Yeah, the only people that raise a little bit, some higher standards are just normal people, ordinary people. People would drink, people fight, people have many wives, and therefore that becomes a mindset, basically. And so I didn't see the need of education. I remember when I was in class 6, I once woke up, and when we were going to school, I actually stayed behind the walls, the house. Yeah. And so my mother had me coughing during the day, and she came to check, and she asked me, what are you doing here? I said, Mom, I have just realized that I've been studying for you for 7 years. Yeah. Now it's enough. I just want to go and take care of the cattle.
Wow.
Okay.
And that's what you wanted to do from the word go?
Basically, that's what I wanted to do. And then when I was done with class 8, I went to seek some employment. And I was actually employed as a, I should say, a houseboy, because I was doing basically everything. And whoever employed me, I think, did not treat me well. And finally did not want to pay me. And that thing made me start thinking about my life. And I asked myself, for how long am I going to be this way? So I went back home, and that was the following year. And so I told my dad I want to go back to school. So my dad did not believe, because he knew me as not a very
naughty boy,
behaved boy, and not motivated also to study. So he thought I actually want to just, joke with him and then finally get some money, go use it. And actually at that point, I even started taking alcohol at a young age.
Wow.
Okay?
Yeah.
So he told me, you go back to school if that's what you want. I said, Dad, I'm here. I mean, I need school fees and uniform and all that. So ultimately, he told me, you go and look for it. I actually went, did some manual work, found a school for myself, went back to school.
Wow.
Okay? And from there, things changed. I started performing much, much better. And I think after that, life has not been the same.
Okay.
So that's why I found myself where I am.
Yeah. So what changed your mindset to go back to school?
I think it's the challenges that I went through in that kind of employment. My employer, he mistreated me a lot. I was a young boy, 14 years old, and I did a lot of farming. Like I could weed, the whole 2 acres of land all alone. I was taking care of 2 children. I was taking care of the cow and all that. And it was really, it was abusive, I can say so.
Yeah.
He would insult me at times, tell me you're good for nothing and all that. So I think that kind of pain that I went through made me ask myself, what do I want in my life? Will I always be this way? How can I liberate myself?
Yeah.
And I realized the only way is going back to school.
Going back to school.
Okay. So I went back to school and,
Okay.
Yeah.
So you had no one to look up to even at this particular time, but you just felt like, let me go back to school and change my life.
Definitely that's what I did. Now, my uncle was head teacher of a primary school, just nearby. So I went there, he found me and asked me, so why are you here and what are you doing here? I said, I've come to school. And he asked me, but I didn't know that you're coming. I said, it's okay. I thought I needed to go back to school. So ultimately, he allowed me to go to the class.
Yeah.
And I think I stayed in the school, because at this time, after that thought of what do I want to do with my life, basically what happens is that my behavior changed. Everything changed. I became so behaved. I went in a new school. I stayed there for 1 month. And after that 1 month, I was made a school captain.
Wow.
Like handboy, yeah?
Yes.
Within that 1 month.
Yes.
Then after that, I think the entire school began to change because I could interact with the student, the pupils very well. And ultimately, somehow, really, they got motivated in doing what I was doing.
All right.
I went to the high school. Again, I was given all roles of leadership and then ultimately became the school captain. I went to the university and given roles, and ultimately I became the president of the student association.
Wow.
Yeah, so in postgraduate also I was given some other leadership roles. Yeah, so I think that thought really changed my life, and I realized that it's me who needs to change my life and direct my life the way I want.
Right.
And it's nothing to do with my mother, nothing to do with other people in my life. So I stopped blaming people at that moment.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it was all about your mindset.
Basically.
Okay, so is one born with a particular mindset?
I would say there is, philosophically, if I can explain, we are born with potentials, all of us. But then the environment that we are born in kind of predisposes us to, to different kind of way of viewing life. But I couldn't say that all of us have the growth mindset when we are born.
Yeah.
Because when you see a child trying to walk, they fail several times, but they keep on trying.
Yeah,
so that is a growth mindset. They try to speak different kind of words. They learn several times. Some other times they will misspell. They will mispronounce some words, but they keep on trying. Okay, so that tells you that child has a growth mindset. Now, as you grow up, that environment shapes you. Okay?
Yeah.
If, for example, you live with people who do not believe in you, particularly people in authority, like your parents keep on telling you you're good for nothing, you cannot amount to anything. You will never become an important person in the community. You are like your father, you are like your mother, you are like your grandfather, all those kind of terminologies. Now, when you hear that kind of language, you actually start now programming your own mindset that actually this is what I am. I'm only this amount and I can't do more than what I'm able to do. On the other hand, if you have the growth mindset, what happens is that what you hear basically can open you up so that you look at things differently.
Absolutely.
Like, for example, if your mom comes and you do something and then asks, how did you do that? I mean, how did you do it? You know, that way create interest in you.
Absolutely.
I must have done it so well.
Yes,
you know? And therefore you realize that I can actually keep on working and improving myself.
It's like a motivation, right?
Yes. But of course with that, then again, I know there's people have been moving around and saying, tell your children positive things. For example, tell them you're cute, you're beautiful, you're handsome, you're intelligent and all that. It's going to say that. It's a motivate to some extent. But you know, it kind of also fixes you. That you are actually intelligent and that's all. Okay? So you need to have ones that encourage them other than just labeling them that you're intelligent, you're wonderful and all that. So use encouraging ones, for example, wow, that is awesome. How did you do it? Can I see it again? I mean, can you repeat it again? Can you do it again? You know? Once you do, you use those kind of ones, then the child begins to realize that actually what I've done at the moment is not final.
Yes, I can do much more.
Yes. So that opens you now, opens your mindset. The moment you've formed your mindset, it becomes like a lens that you use to interpret every other experience in your life. Okay? But then if you have a growth mindset, basically you are likely to overcome whatever it is challenge that you encounter on the way. And I have a few examples. For example, if you look at Einstein, he's a man who became, one of the greatest scientists.
Absolutely.
Ultimately, he was told that he's a underchild. Like, in terms of intelligence, he was almost like mentally retarded. And therefore, everybody thought that he will amount to nothing. But ultimately, look at his work. People like Beethoven is a man who became a composer, symphony, I think, composer. He was ultimately told that he can never compose any song. Look at people like Michael Jordan, basketballer. He was definitely told by the coach that you are not better than any other person.
Absolutely.
But ultimately, look at his work and what he was able to do.
Even up to now, he's a very successful person.
People like Nelson Mandela.
Absolutely.
Put in prison for 27 years. What do you expect somebody who is coming from prison for 27 years? Is somebody who is looking down on himself. Somebody who is broken, wounded, traumatized. But the man leaves the prison and he looks back, he realizes he is actually a prisoner. So he says, I decided to set myself free by forgiving and dealing with all the inner wounds that I gotten in the prison. And after that, he came and changed the entire world.
Absolutely.
Because people look up on him. I also consider our homemade, you know. Like, for example, I look at the President Uhuru. You know, when they were vying for presidency, they had a case in ICC. Now, that case alone should have incapacitated him completely, not to move ahead. But the man somehow seemed to get some energy from that, some motivation from that. And ultimately, that's why he ended up where he is today. So that kind of mindset basically empowers you and enables you to achieve more and more. When you have a fixed mindset, what will happen is that any challenge for you is incapacitating. I can't do it. I'm who I am, and that's where I will always remain in my life. So even when there is evidence that you can actually perform and become better, you still don't believe it.
Absolutely.
And now, something with our neurological system, what happens is that the moment you believe in something, then your mind will fire the neurotransmitters, the chemicals basically that transmit message, will fire them up. And kind of they will motivate you, and you'll find yourself doing more and more.
Absolutely.
Now, if you have a fixed mindset, the same will happen. It will release the chemicals that will depress you, so that such that you don't have energy to wake up and study. You don't have energy to work on your relationship. You have no energy to even sit down and organize your finances, because you still believe that I'm who I am, and I will always be this way, and I will never change.
And sometimes, even as we talk about the way our surroundings affect our mindset, sometimes I think we inflict this on ourselves, because you don't necessarily need someone to tell you that you cannot amount to anything, but it's what you believe deep down within yourself. And from your failures or from your success, you know, if you believe that I can never be A, B, C, D person. If I believe that I can never be anything close to Oprah, then maybe I will never be anything close to that. Yeah. So how do we get there?
Now, of course, again, you know, the mindset that you have will take you there. But for example, if you have a fixed mindset, then you need to work on it. You need to learn what fixed mindset is and what growth mindset is. The moment you understand what the growth mindset is, then you start working on yourself. Every time you hear the voice of the fixed mindset, you actually verbalize and tell yourself, no, I'm not that. I can actually be better. Okay? Then at the end of it all, you come to realize that it's only you who is able to change your own life, and other people will not change you. The moment you realize that that becomes powerful in you, is a powerful motivator. So when you fail, you don't take it personal, like looking down on yourself and tending to think that I am not good enough, I am a failure, that's why I wasn't able to achieve this and that. Okay? Look at people like, for example, Thomas. Thomas, the man who invented light bulb, these ones here. He tried, you know how many times? 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And you know what he was told when he was in kindergarten? The teacher told him and gave him a letter and told him, take this letter to your mom and not any other person. So he took the letter, gave to the mother, and then when he gave the letter to the mother looked at it and started crying. So Thomas asked the mother, what is the problem? And then the mom says, the teacher says that you're such a genius that you're almost not fitting the normal school. Okay? But actually what was written there is that your child is mentally retarded, he needs a special school.
Wow.
So that powerful message transformed the entire life of this young man. He lost his jobs, I think, twice. He was told he's unproductive. And ultimately invented. He tried several times, 1,000 times, and finally invented what helps us today. That's why we can, I mean, people can see us now.
That's okay? So people back at home can see us.
So that tells you then, you can actually work on your own self.
Absolutely.
And change your own life.
Absolutely.
Now, when clients come to Amazon, basically what I tell them, after a few sessions, I listen, first of all, what they are going through. I normalize what they are going through. Then ultimately, I come to a point that I have to confront and tell them the truth, that you're your own problem. We are actually our own problems. Because the kind of disposition or mindset that I have is the one that will determine whether I succeed or fail. Let's say, for example, in a relationship, maybe you may have gone through traumatic experiences in the beginning. Let's say, as a child, your mother did not treat you well, your dad abused you. So you are likely to go on in life believing that relationships are always coupled with pain. So when you find yourself in a relationship that is somehow probably not even working very well, you don't work harder, you don't get motivated to work on this relationship. You kind of withdraw because your mindset is everywhere where there is a relationship, there is pain. And therefore you start experiencing pain, and that incapacitates you in a way that you will not work on your own relationship.
Or even inflicting the pain on other people.
On other people as well.
Wow. Okay. So how can mindset affect us as a country?
Now, there are a number of articles I've written, and I remember there is one I wrote on crowd psychology, basically what people call mob psychology. When you look at that, for example, during the election year time or period, you will notice that people have a specific mindset at that moment. And one of the things I've noticed is that if things are not working, then we can come as a crowd and force our way. Okay? You don't have to follow any rule. And you know, when you're in a crowd, you're almost like unnoticeable. There is that sense of anonymity, like no one knows you. And you cannot be inflicted, any punishment or whatever, because, you're many. So that kind of mindset affects the entire nation. Because even when our children are growing up, they realize that for us to be able to achieve anything in life, we have to protest, we have to break things, we have to steal, we have to do all that. Look at the corruption. It's a mindset. You tell a child when a child is growing up, Mama, Daddy, go and buy me something. And if you do this, I'll
give you 5 shillings or a sweet.
Or I will take you out.
Yes.
You understand?
Yes.
Now, that is already a mindset that you're forming in the life of a child. So the child knows for me to do anything, I must be paid for. So anything that I have to do on my own where I'm not getting paid, definitely you don't feel motivated. Look at the corruption. You go to a government office, somebody tells you, for me to process this document for you, you must give me a certain amount of money. And I know, I mean, even my mother believes it. She told me the other day that if you are going to the land's office, you must carry something for the wakubwa.
Chai.
Yeah.
Chai.
But I told her, you know, Mom, all I need is just the documents, the right documents. I just give them and wait the process, you know. Yeah, so that can affect us as well. System of education. You know, how do we approach education for us? Is it a way of kind of showcasing what you're able to do? Or is it a way of learning skills that I can actually use in my life?
Absolutely.
If you get A and another student gets C, you know, the question is, does it mean that the one who has A has a better life and the one who has C has a, you know?
Very true.
So those are the kind of mindset that we need to work on even as a nation for us to be able to move on and become better people.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I guess that's why they say it's all in the mind. Everything that you're going through, everything that you do, everything that you think you cannot conquer, it's all in the mind. Definitely. Thank you so much for coming through. How can people get in touch with you? Now,
I'm at Amazon Counseling Center. It's in South B. It's about 200 meters from Mata Hospital.
Okay.
You can reach us on 0725 242 740.
All right.
7025 242 740.
Okay.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for coming through this Wednesday morning. We're so happy that we've had this discussion. And I'm sure a lot of young people out there have been asking me, how do I change my life? How do I get the confidence? How do I? It's all in your mind. You just need to start today and, you know, you will have it with you.